Okay, so this is the next topic that we want to take a look at. And it's really no different than what we've been doing like this whole time. So there's just one added step at the end. Otherwise, it's the same. So no panic. So today you're actually going to get a choice. You can either use the area model, if you like that better, or you can use the distributive property, which is what we introduced to you yesterday. So let's take, for example, the question 34 times 45. Okay, with the area model, you would set up your grid with the 30 and the 4 on one side and the 40 and the 5 on the top. Okay, if you're using the distributive property, you would essentially do the same thing, but this time with brackets, showing that similar process. Okay, then with the area model, you would go 30 times 40. With the distributive, you would also go 30 times 40, okay, which ends up being 12 and 2 shifts. 12 and 2 shifts, okay? Then you move on to the next rectangle, in which I would be saying 30 times 5. With the distributive property, you would now take that 30 and multiply it by the 5, okay? So same idea. Moving on to the next rectangle, we have 4 times 40, same thing in the distributive property, which would be 16 and 1 shift. And then the last rectangle there, which would be 4 times 5, same thing in the distributive property, 4 times 5, which is 20. Okay, and then you would take all of those and you would add them all up. Okay. So, and with both of these, this is how you would show your work in the slides. So let's do one more quick question, but I'm just going to use the distributive property for this. So I'm taking that 50 and I'm distributing it to the 20 to get 1,000, and then to the 4 to get 200. Then now I'm done with the 50. Now I move on to the 6. And I'm going to take the 6 and I'm going to times it by the 20 to get 120, and then the 6 times the 4, which would give me 24. And I add all that up. Now my answer is 1,344. Now let's say I change the question slightly, and instead of 56 times 24, I change the question to 560 times 24. Okay, so all I've done is taken that 56 and I've shifted it up, or I've multiplied it by 10. So really it's the same question, 56 times 24, but now we would have to times everything by 10. So I wouldn't have to go through that same whole process. I would take that 1,344 and shift it up by adding that 0 at the end. Okay? Let's change it again. Now, instead of 560, instead of 56 times 24, I have 560 times 240. Okay, so I've shifted both numbers. So it's 56 times 24 times 10 times 10. So now I'm just doing the same answer, but I'm shifting it up twice. Okay, and I can keep going or do it in multiple ways. Okay, so 56 times 24 times 10 times 10. Okay, it's still going to be the same answer. So I can take this idea and now go the other direction. Okay, and I can now, instead of 56 times 24, I've changed the question to 56 times 2.4. So now, instead of multiplying by 10, because there is that one decimal place there, the 0.4, I would now take my answer of 1,344 and I would divide by 10. So that is shifting the decimal, or shifting those numbers back one space, which would cause that end 4 to be after the decimal. Let's change it again. 5.6 times 2.4. Now I have two decimal places. I have a 0.6 and I have a 0.4. So it's the same answer. So 56 times 24, but now I'm going to be shifting backwards twice because there are two decimal places in the question. So my answer is going to be, instead of 1,344, it's going to be 13.44. Okay? So sometimes, so in today's work, you're going to be given questions like this, which really is the question 23 times 37, which we already know how to multiply. Okay? So using the distributive property or the area model, it's up to you. You can go through, multiply, okay, using the distributive property, add up the total, get the solution, and now the question you have to ask yourself is how many decimal places were there in the original question? Well, I can see that there's a 0.3 and a 0.7, so that's two decimal places. So I would have to shift back this number two decimal places, which would cause, oh, this is me changing the question multiple times. Okay. So in this case, I wrote the question 23 times 0.37. So once again, there's two decimal places. Okay, so that would be 8.51. Okay, and here, in this question, there's four decimal places. So I would be moving it back 4 times. Oops, sorry. So, yeah. So the answer to this one, because there's two decimal places, would be 8.51. Okay, so yeah. Anyways, we'll see how it goes. Ask me questions if you're struggling. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye.